Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. The time is 9:02 a.m. and you're listening to and watching Good Morning, Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. It's Thursday, and we've got a great event to tell you guys about. We've been always happy to tell you guys about the Everyday Heroes Breakfast. And my guest today is Dan Barreiro, friend of the show and member of the Three Fires Council. How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Good to see you today.
It's great to be back on the show here. I'm glad it's not as early as it used to be.
Yes, remember it was a 7:30 meetup and then 8 o'clock show. Yeah. How you feeling today?
I'm feeling pretty good. The sun is shining. So,
it's beautiful outside.
Perfect weather.
Yep. You mentioned that you had some lawn stuff going on too at home that you got to take care of, get the lawnmower going.
I have a date with the lawnmower.
Okay, all right, very cool.
And the weed whacker.
So we're going to be talking about the Everyday Heroes Breakfast. For those of you who are unfamiliar with it, the Everyday Heroes Breakfast is presented by the Three Fires Council, and they present a wonderful breakfast. It's a great way to learn about the community and the heroes in the community. I'll let you talk more about it and tell us about its history here in the community.
Okay, so this is our third annual.
Okay.
And so the genesis of it was trying to expand awareness about scouting in the Aurora community. So I'm on the Three Fires Council board as a vice president for DEI initiatives.
Okay.
Initially, it was for Hispanic initiatives, and when the change came, it was a good change because now it's more inclusive.
Right.
And just trying to embrace diversity in scouting, and get more be more inclusive and have more kids join scouting.
Right.
So with that, one of the ideas was we had a series of meetings with community partners, trying to create that awareness and partnerships, and so this was just the next step.
Right.
Let's get the community engaged and have an event for the community to come to. I have attended these types of events, in other communities like Naperville, and thought to myself, why don't we have one in Aurora? It'd be a lot easier to invite guests from Aurora to a breakfast in Aurora,
right? Exactly.
Than to go to something out of town so early in the morning.
Yeah, come over yonder, way over there.
Yeah. So that was kind of the genesis of it. So we were already meeting with different groups, trying to get them engaged with scouting.
Okay. Now, how long have you been a member of the Three Fires Council?
Since 2017.
And is member correct? You're a board member.
I'm a board member.
Correct.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Since 2017.
Okay. How'd you get involved?
A friend of a friend.
Okay.
Sometimes people will ask for, hey, does anybody know anybody that we're looking for somebody that from Aurora, and that kind of thing. And so I guess the fact that I worked at City Hall and was on the East Aurora School Board, were probably contributed to that.
Right.
So I got a call from somebody I know at the Painters Union, and so said, hey, the new executive director would like to meet with you. So I had a meeting, and he was a pretty good salesman.
Mm-hmm. And here we are.
Clint Sharp, he was reeling me in.
Right, exactly. Hey, what do you think about this, Dan?
He started talking about school board, and hey, I like, I'm very passionate about youth and and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So then it's kind of
you've done and I want to just plant a flag in the conversation. You've done a lot in the community, and just did refresh my memory that you were on the school board as well. Recently, left the school board. So
yes, as the minute I was sworn in as the first ward alderman,
right.
I was no longer on the school board.
Okay.
Because they're deemed incompatible boards, so I couldn't do both at the same time.
Okay, interesting. So 9:06 at the time. Let's talk about the Everyday Hero. Mm-hmm. So I attended last year's. It was great, and as mentioned on the flyer and the literature that you guys have, you can network, learn about the people in the community. But what is it? What are some of the qualities of the people that we have here in Aurora that make them those everyday heroes?
Well, it's been my experience that Aurora is very rich with community leaders,
mm-hmm.
and to the point that sometimes you don't even know you're next to a living legend,
right?
Until years later.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And those people inspire others to serve because they serve as role models.
Right.
I remember when I was on the East Aurora Education Foundation, and I was serving alongside, several people very prominent, and that inspired me to become more involved.
Okay.
So Henry Cowherd was one of them, and Henry Cowherd was on the East Aurora School Board, I think elected in 1969.
Wow.
And when I graduated high school in '82, he was the board secretary. He signed my diploma.
That's awesome. The namesake of Cowherd Middle School.
Cowherd, yes, exactly. That's what I'm talking about, living legends.
Right. That's amazing.
And those are the people that inspire people like me to get involved.
Right.
Say, hey, we got to pay it forward. The Henry Cowherds, the Marie Wilkinsons, they're not always going to be here.
Right.
So we got to have the next generation step up, and hopefully, I've helped young people to also be inspired to step up and get involved.
That's awesome. You talk about living legends, and it's so true. And I'm thinking about a man named Gil Rios. Gil Rios is a gentleman who I met him, and he was telling me about his polar bear golf outing. Come to find out, the man is a Marine Corps veteran. I mean, the man he's done so much, and just learning about the polar bear golf fundraiser was just the tip of the iceberg.
Wow!
With all the great stuff that he's done. So just an example.
No. You're right. You're right. And the list is so long.
Right.
This year, for 3 years we've been honoring a lot of different people, but this year's Jeff Craig. He's the former superintendent at District 129. Yep. And then Joe Grissom. He's involved in a lot of things. The Fox Valley Park District, the Aurora Housing Authority, African American Heritage Advisory Board. Very involved in the community, and also Avis Miller. Avis she's a community living legend.
She is.
If you know anything about Pattersonville, her family's been in Pattersonville, part of the East Side, for generations.
Grand Boulevard. That's right.
She lives close to the Grand Boulevard Center.
That's right.
And they had a hand in saving it. She had a hand in saving that with TBOC, Taking Back Our Community, where she helped to form that when we had high crime in the area. And so things are pretty peaceful over there now.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. Yeah.
So these are the people we're honoring this year. And so, it's a good thing to do that, to recognize people for their good deeds.
Absolutely. The time is 9:10 a.m. if you're just joining us. My guest today is Dan Barreiro of the Three Fires Council. And good morning to Tracy Duran. How are you, Tracy Duran? Good morning to Daniel Calderon, Ryan Smith, Kimberly Collier, and I said Daniel Calderon. And Lynn Bogacki is here. He says, good morning, Curtis and Dan. Good to see you both. Spread the good news. Well, absolutely.
Hey, can you ask our buddy Len to post the link or the information for people to register for the breakfast?
Absolutely, Len.
If you could
put that link in the chat. Put the link to the registration in the chat.
That might be good to mention when it is, right?
Oh yeah.
So it's next week.
Actually, I believe, Alex, do we have the flyer of said?
Oh, there it is.
Every day. Come on. You know what we do on the show. We're ready.
Okay. Awesome.
So on the screen, ladies and gentlemen, is the current flyer for the Everyday Heroes Breakfast for this year. Once again, this is the third annual. Listed on the flyer are ways for you to get involved, learn more, also information about registration, and it also lets you know right there on the screen who this year's special guest is, Michelle Rutherford of NBC5 Chicago. Thank you
heard this
very
morning.
much. You did.
Yeah.
How about it? Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
So Jen Mendoza's here. Good morning to you, Jen. And the link is in the chat, givesmart.com events. Here's the thing. I'd like to ask you, what are 3 things that you feel scouting can give to a young person?
3 things. Well, I think it gives them a good foundation for character.
Okay.
That's one of the pillars. Also, I think it gives them an opportunity to learn different things. So as an example, I'm a merit badge counselor, and unfortunately, the things that I'm a merit badge counselor aren't as fun as some of the others, but I'm working on that.
Twine spooling.
It's because there's so many merit badge counselors,
right?
And you're trying to, okay, can I do, some of these other things? Well, we already have so many. So I got pulled in to do American business, American labor a couple years ago at Merit Badge University.
Okay.
And to me, being on the board, you would hear about different things that were being talked about, and you would hear about, get an update from different committees and Merit Badge University. So 3 years ago, it tapped me on the shoulders. Hey, we're short Merit Badge counselors, and we need somebody for this class. One of my colleagues called me and put the squeeze on me. So American business, American labor.
Okay.
For a merit badge, and so it turned out to be two different merit badges in one time slot.
Okay.
And so I did it with another individual, and then the second year we split off because it just didn't work.
Right.
We need more time. So I did American labor solo.
Okay.
And so the kids come in there, they're gung ho, and they're good sports.
Right.
To me, I'm thinking like, wow, this is a dry topic.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Seriously.
I worked in HR for 5 years, and
how
I'm
fun
thinking,
can
like,
this be?
Right. But they're troopers. They're in there to learn and soak up the knowledge, and sometimes you see that they are getting it. They do understand. They do appreciate it.
Right.
And they're getting something out of it. But they're not all really, we say, there are some merit badges that are more fun, more, hands-on.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Certainly.
And so there's like a wide gamut of what the kids can learn, what they can experience.
Okay.
And so with the American labor, they're learning about different jobs in HR, for example.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then some what the labor unions do, and how they benefit you. So it is educational. But some of the other ones, that I like to do is, hopefully I'll be able to crack in there and do some more fun things.
Right. Yeah.
But that's on my wish list.
Merit badges are updated as times change and technologies and different things like that to reflect.
They evolve.
Right.
Yes. And so they're there to get their merit badges, and some of them are looking for the long term of becoming Eagle Scouts.
Sure.
So they're trying to get as many as they can and get all the boxes checked off. So the other thing I think that scouting does is I think it helps them build friendships and have long-standing friendships through their experiences with scouting.
Okay.
So to me, those are three good things that outcomes for being involved in scouting.
9:15 is the time. Jen Mendoza, good morning to you as well. Thank you for joining us. You're watching Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. How has, what's been the biggest change in scouting in your time, of being involved?
Biggest change? Well, when I first got on, there was a change to admit girls, females into scouting. Mm-hmm. So that was a big change. And so right now in Three Fires Council, I think about 13% of the scouts are female.
Awesome.
So that's been a big change. The other one, recently the name of the organization was changed from Boy Scouts of America to Scouting America.
Okay.
To be more reflective of that change,
sure. Right.
Those changes. And so it's taking some time for people to get used to that, because people, it's a 100-year-old organization, right?
Right. We've been doing it for 100 years, but guess what, guys? Today,
So this was the year that rolled out, and I think when we look at it, it's going to provide opportunities, for the organization and for youth. And so when I look at that, I wasn't shocked by it,
Sure.
because of, a number of reasons, and one of them is I can point to my time on the East Aurora School Board, and we had the NJROTC program, one of the largest in the nation.
Right.
And when I first got on the board, we had over 600 cadets.
Wow.
And it's split, female and male.
Yeah, yes, it is.
And a lot of the females, they're in charge. They're the commanders, and
they're the section leader. They're the yes, absolutely.
They're providing the leadership.
Yeah, I've taken some great tours at East Aurora for the NJROTC. Chief Farmer. Anyway, I mean, cut you off, but yeah.
So you see them in the honor guard and the color guard, and and the pass and review and all the different competitions.
Right.
And they're a force. So to me, it was nothing.
Nothing new. Natural.
It was a natural thing.
Yeah.
One of the benefits, obviously, is that parents don't have to divide and conquer. The dad doesn't have to go with his son, and the mom goes with the daughter.
Right.
To different events. Now they can go together as a family.
Yeah.
So
same minivan.
It's the same. So that's beneficial.
Awesome. 9:17 is the time. So what can the folks expect and the community expect when they attend this year's Everyday Heroes Breakfast?
Well, they can expect a good breakfast. That's always something.
It is.
Rulin's, one of our longtime community staples here.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't had Rulin's in a while, so they're going to be our caterer again. Prisco, they always are a great host, great facility. That is such a jewel for our community in the center of town.
Oh yeah.
And they can expect a good presentation. Of honoring our guests and our guest speaker, and the time goes by real fast.
It does.
And usually you go in there, you'll know somebody, and sometimes you'll know a lot of people.
Yeah.
So it's always good to come to these events. You can see a lot of community people and community-minded people. So.
Yes, absolutely. It does remind me of, I believe, last year's, and it's going to be at the Prisco Center once again, 150 West Illinois Avenue, for those who aren't familiar. But how does the council go about the selection process of the heroes?
Okay, so we have a committee, and so the committee nominates folks, and so I think this year we had the largest number of nominations, which made it even more difficult. Right. Yeah. And then we vote, and so that comes down to people nominating good people, writing up some good bios or background information, and usually if they're good nominees, you know who they are without even having to read the bio.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like the three individuals I mentioned. I've known them for years.
Right.
So and so that's usually we'll have like a what do you call it, pyramid,
Right. Yeah.
Where those with the most votes and come up to the top, and
gotcha.
So we were very fortunate.
Yeah. And Michelle Rutherford for our guest speaker, our keynote speaker this year.
That I can't take credit for.
Okay.
I'm going to have to give a shout out to Len on that one. He's always looking out, trying to find somebody.
He did a good job. He did a good job. Yeah.
So he started early on that one, and made a connection there with scouting. So that was one of the.
Right. Now the Scouts, 9:20 is the time. Brent Jimenez is here. Good morning to you, Brent. Good to see you today. Now the Three Fires Council has Explorer posts and different things that you guys do here in the community.
Yeah,
Let's talk about some of that.
Fire and police.
Yes.
Have Explorer posts.
Yep.
And we're looking to expand that into other fields as well.
Right.
So it's kind of like it's a way for youth to have an experience in these different professions.
Right.
And it's also beneficial to the sponsors of those posts, because they could have future firefighters or future police officers, from these scouts.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So it exposes them to the profession.
Yeah. And when it comes to, you guys have also worked with the GAR here.
Yes.
In town, and you guys have a presence at some of the First Fridays or some of the summertime events.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, working over there, just trying to do outreach.
Okay.
To be present in the community.
Right.
So that's a partnership there. We also have a partnership with the Fire Museum.
Okay.
So we have a girl troop over there that meets there.
Nice.
So they have their meetings. So
okay.
We try to get into different organizations in the community, and expand the opportunities for scouting. So that helps.
Yeah.
We appreciate all those partnerships.
Right.
Just helps to have more facilities and venues.
How can the folks or the parents learn more about Three Fires Council?
Okay, so I'm going to have Len post that on there if I can.
Get the lifeline going, right? Like, what's the show where you get the lifeline for the question you don't know it?
Call a friend or phone a friend.
What is that? American Bandstand? What is the name of that show? Well, we know what we're talking about, right? American Bandstand's a old TV show. I was way wrong with that.
I need a lifeline here.
Yeah. We both need one.
I mean, obviously you could, always Google Three Fires Council and go to the website and find out about, getting involved. But there's probably other avenues as well.
Okay. Well, the link to purchase tickets and find out more about the event is in the chat, so I encourage you guys to check that out. If you have not been to the Everyday Heroes Breakfast, you're really missing out. It's a great time. It's a wonderful way to connect with the community, and also it's a fantastic networking experience as well. So, I mean, you will be, you'll be rubbing shoulders with some of the best people in Aurora. So I'm really looking forward to it. 9:23 is the time. So what's the future look like for scouting?
Well, I would hope to think that scouting will be around for another 100 years. I think it's one of those national organizations that has made a huge impact, in the nation,
right?
In our communities, and so it's an organization that we need to keep. To provide a good foundation for our youth,
right.
And so I think going forward, just trying to make some changes to keep up with the times, take advantage of maybe different kinds of merit badges for technology and whatnot, and as things change, and just trying to make it keep up with the times.
Right.
But I think the opportunities there for the youth to stay involved. There's new things that are important to youth now, sustainability and green initiatives, and so maybe the projects that the Eagle Scouts are working on maybe look different.
All right. Oh yeah.
But the opportunity is there, and when people are in scouting, it creates a big foundation, a huge foundation for them, and also opens doors for them.
Right.
When you can put that on your resume, and
absolutely
when you are talking to a fellow scouter, have an automatic, bond because you have something in common. No different if being in an alumni of a certain school or fraternity, sorority.
Absolutely.
There's a kind of a brotherhood, sisterhood.
Yeah. No matter where you guys are at in life, you're both connected.
Right.
Both connected.
Right.
And it was very interesting. Our very first interview with Three Fires, we went over the names of some of the most famous people in America who've been scouts at some point in time. It's very impressive, all the way from George Bush to other great folks. So, 9:25 is the time. As we start to land this airplane, I want to say that I am glad that scouting is around and is still being presented in a positive fashion to young people, because much like you mentioned with the NJROTC program, I mean it's a good sight when you see kids squared away and ready to go. It really is. When you see them being the leader of their peers and also rotating those experiences as well. It's a powerful thing. I think a lot of times, I think for a long periods of time, the idea that kids or youth would be ready or able to lead was something that was kind of, not necessarily frowned upon, but, I think grown-ups have been taking the lead in some cases a little bit longer than they should have. Maybe they should have given the reins to some of the young folks a little while back.
Right. And a lot of these kids, I mean, they're amazing, and very, very smart. And they got the future, and that is our future, right?
Yeah.
And so sometimes you'll see the scouts at a parade or community event, but there's the most impactful ours is when they're involved in giving back to the community,
right?
Like a cleanup event or pitching in and volunteering for things,
right?
That goes a long way for community building and engagement.
Absolutely.
But we need our youth to be involved in these kinds of things, positive things,
right?
Positive activities, because we need to keep them on that positive path.
That's right. That's right. 9:26 is the time. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you guys enjoyed this morning's Good Morning Aurora with Dan Barreiro talking about the Three Fires Council and also the Everyday Heroes Breakfast. Alex, if we could show that flyer one more brief time for about 68 seconds. So there's the flyer. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, it's been shared to our social media, Instagram, Facebook, and all the other places. May 1st, there will not be a Good Morning Aurora that morning because we will be there. We will be there.
All right.
We will be there.
Awesome.
We will be there. All right. That's it for Good Morning Aurora today, ladies and gentlemen. Hope that you guys have a fantastic day, a positive day, and a blessed rest of the day and week. Right now, Buenos Dias, Aurora is going to begin, the second largest city's first bilingual news podcast. And Aaron Rodriguez and State of the Market has two guests, Carmen and Becky. Take care of yourself and each other.
Being a local business in Chicago, we've always worked with community banks, but over time, those smaller banks started getting acquired by larger national footprint banks. It became time to work with Wintrust to meet our needs without having to have that big bank feel.
Wintrust understood what they wanted to accomplish, and they've increased in size 5 times over.
As we continue to grow, we're going to keep needing to borrow, so I'm sure they're going to love that.
Serving their needs. It's really the foundation of what Wintrust Commercial Banking is all about.
YEP gives me a lot of hope for the future, not just here locally, but as those kids go out into the world and they share their perspectives and their passions, it's going to be infectious. It's going to spread. So they're just an amazing organization that sets their partners and this community up for success. The future of this community, and honestly the country and the world, is bright with the kids that are on that YEP program, because they're going to save the world. They're doing incredible work, and to just get to know them and learn about their passions was a very fulfilling experience for me. Without the Community Foundation, it would be much more difficult for Hesed House and so many other organizations here locally to enact our mission on a daily basis.